Welcome back, part two. I'm leading. I'm Julio, Bob, Eddie, and I sit in the middle.
That's why you sit in the middle. You're the guy in the middle.
You got any problems with that, Bob?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I like
Good on
sitting
this
here.
thing.
My legs can hang out under the table.
Next week you might be in a different location.
Maybe.
I'm a tall person.
Maybe.
We'll see. If Bob's really that upset.
All right, so very
I'll tell you.
quickly getting
So-
back.
Fulmer, by the way.
Michael Fulmer.
Michael Fulmer. Tigers pitcher, and you've got who on the...
I got
Indians?
Tyler Naquin.
Okay.
And Tyler Naquin, I think, is going to win it.
And I think Fulmer will.
Almost 300 hitter.
Almost 299, 14 home runs, 42 RBIs, and your team is going to win your division. I think puts you over the top over Sanchez, who's not going to have enough at-bats to make it worthwhile, and not going to be, unless they win. I mean, if they were to come back and win,
I just think with Fulmer, I think, 10-6, 2.87 ERA, which right now is 30 points ahead of Chris Sale, who, as of Fulmer's next start, Fulmer will be leading the league. He'll have enough innings to qualify and everything like that. If you lead a category in your entire league, like ERA, not among rookies, not among, you are the American League ERA title holder
there's certainly
for a season.
there's certainly a bias though
Give you a
against
good
pitchers,
Yep.
a bias against pitchers winning MVP, Rookie of the Year kind of thing, and you have to overcome that because you have your own award. I mean, if you think that,
They
why
have
is he
Rookie
not
Pitcher of the Year?
Why
I
is he
didn't know they
why
had
is he
that.
not Cy Young? Why is he not the Cy Young pitcher in the American League?
Because the ERA winner doesn't necessarily.
if he's ahead of Sales.
in one category. I'm just saying if you win one major category
As a
Okay.
rookie, right.
as
I
a
agree.
rookie,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think you'll have to overcome that, but that's
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I'll remember this one.
Okay.
I may not remember who I picked in the National
I don't
League
know
to
that
win.
yet.
I do remember saying
I know who I picked in the National League to win.
I know I picked to win the whole thing. I know.
I picked the Giants to win it all because
Right.
it's an even
That's
year.
true.
But but if you remember, my caveat was I think the Cubs are going to win it,
Cubs
but
are
I
gonna win.
cannot go against.
I did not
the Giants.
drink. I think I'm the only one. Maybe,
You did.
that did not drink the Mets Kool-Aid.
The Mets? Yeah, we all picked the Mets. And
No,
we didn't
I
pick
picked
the Mets.
I picked the Nationals.
No, nobody picked the Mets to win it.
Oh, nobody drank that Kool-Aid.
I think
No.
the Nationals is who I picked too. I think.
Yeah, I think we all agreed the Nationals were going to win.
Because
We
I
all
didn't-
picked
I
the
never
Cubs.
bought-
We all drank the Cubs Kool-Aid. That the
We
Cubs
did
were
drink
gonna
the
win.
Cubs
Cubs are gonna
Kool-Aid,
win
and
it.
I think that was
That's not a
pretty
bad
strong. That was
flavor.
pretty strong Kool-Aid.
That's a
Yeah.
good flavor.
Yeah, the Joe Madden seasoning. It's,
My wife,
it's
by
gonna
the way, Lisa said, I need to come on the show and talk. And I'm like, okay, well, come on the show and talk. She said, well, I can't. I don't know anything about baseball. And so,
Well, neither do we.
either way, so I'm like, you should just come on. And she said, because I just like the Braves and they suck. And and that was her exact word. And I like the Cubbies and they suck. I'm like, no, honey. No, the Cubbies don't suck this year. She's like,
No.
they don't? I'm like, no. She's like, oh, and I can come on and talk about the Cubs.
Obviously, she thinks they suck. She'd have a lot of beneficial things to say.
Exactly.
So, so there you go, honey. We worked into the show this week. So there you go. All good.
The Cubs, I think, are going to win it all. I've said, and I don't like saying that because that's usually the kiss of death.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
But I think the Cubs, I really think it's their year. I told somebody the other day, somebody was upset, and I said, you shouldn't base your happiness or your self-worth on a team. And they looked at me, I said, we're talking about the Braves. And I said, what if you're a Cubs fan? They haven't been there since 1908.
But there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, but you can still be you can still have your worth as a Cub
There's
fan.
a lot. There's a
Even
lot.
without winning.
Your self-worth.
Yeah,
There's a lot of 100-year-old
Happy.
Bostonians that are like thrilled because they've won 2 World Series
Exactly
in the last
right.
10 years.
Well, there's what? There's 11-year-old Cubs or Boston fans
That
that
won
like
2 World
that like
Series.
2 World Series.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Exactly
We're the dominant team.
But I just think the Cubs,
Well, and the one thing with you, I think you're finding, even though the Braves, the deep heart and everything, you're finding a little solace out of following the Marlins, and then
Yes. And I was upset when the Marlins got beat 2 nights ago.
By the Braves.
Well, by the Braves.
Which
Well,
is
already
kind
you
of
see
interesting.
this.
Whoa.
I was
He did.
upset.
Oh, no,
Because
he's-
I want the Marlins to get to the playoffs.
well, he realizes that in their
Yeah.
15-year history, they've won more World Series
Than
than
the
the city
Braves.
of Atlanta has in 50 years.
Yeah. I know.
Well, that's probably true. They haven't been,
It is true.
They haven't been there as much, but yeah, they won more.
They won
Whenever
two-
they get there, they win.
They win.
And I just think that, I think that with Don Manley, like I said, next week we're going to talk about pitcher usage. I mean, their bullpen, the Marlins bullpen, if it had been any tighter, I think they wouldn't be 5 out looking for the wild card. I think they're on life support now. The Marlins have to win out to win.
Yeah.
Have a
The
chance.
Marlins, something interesting on that point you just brought up, and the Marlins are the only team in any of the 4 major sports that have never lost the playoff series or lost a playoff game in the case of the NFL, which is a series.
Right,
To
yeah.
move on. They have won they have advanced at every level.
Every level. That's amazing. I
Which
didn't know
is
that.
no,
And they're
no,
5 back in the wild card.
It's over. I mean, it's
No, their pitching
let them down.
has let them down.
I mean, Stanton
And
getting hurt hell.
offense did, and then finally now that
Board-
Stanton's
Board
back,
being
and,
hurt.
and
Like
they're-
14 down in the division.
Yeah.
yeah,
And the Braves have a better record than the Braves have outplayed them.
And no, as far as if there was no wild card,
Yeah, they're
look
14
at
out.
those. Look at those races. I want to say the Dodgers are.
The Dodgers are
3
81 and 63 today.
So
going
the
into
Giants are 4 out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The Marlins are
14
and
plus.
well, okay.
Yeah, it's so.
Well, the Mets are actually closer now.
Yeah,
right.
the Mets are
9 out.
77 and
The
68.
The Mets are 9 out. give or take.
Nine in the win. Yeah, so
They're
nine.
half
9
team
out,
up at the wild card, right?
and and then
The San Francisco are 4 out, so that'd be the closest race in the American League.
and Pittsburgh
National League.
Pittsburgh is
70 and 73, 22 back.
yeah. So that I mean, why haven't they popped? When do they pop it? They haven't clinched that division yet.
The Cubs.
Yeah. There's only 20 games to play. They're 20 something up, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're 92, and that 92 in Miami. Oh no, you forgot your beloved Cardinals.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cardinals are in
Cardinals
there.
in there 76. So
16.
16.
So they'll win in the next 2 or 3 days. You're going to be seeing champagne popping at Wrigley.
Yep.
And you say they win the whole thing.
I think so. I just think that they seem to have stayed healthy. I think the manager makes a big difference this year.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
And
you just get guys to relax and play, and I think that's the biggest thing that I like about Matting. He's not conventional. He does things weird. They have all these weird travel deals that they did with the Marlins, and now they're doing it where they all travel in these wild, funky outfits in one day, and they'll throw a 70s throwback travel uniform, and everybody's got to show up. And people look at that as quirky. But I think what that does
And one thing real
Keeps you
quick,
loose.
throwback with the Cubs, at least you got more selection than throwback with the Rays.
yeah.
They only had like 10 years of uniforms to pick from.
Right, but I'm not talking about uniforms. They're talking about when they travel. They wear clothes like from the era. Like they would actually travel looking like a 1970s baseball team.
Oh, okay.
And now all the guys have to dress up
cool.
in
I haven't seen
70s
that. I haven't seen
attire.
that.
And and when they go to a different city, they get on the plane. They got to be like that. They got to look like that. And I think that breaks up the monotony and the long grind of a 162 game season and those road trips. And all of a sudden now you're like, I wonder what Jim Bob's going to wear when he shows up today to get on the plane to fly 5 hours to the West Coast. And all of a sudden it's a different kind of thing. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe he's wearing that. And you get there and you're more relaxed. You have a good time on the plane. And you're not so stressed out about your performance all the time. I
They're
think
not
that has
stressed
a lot
out.
to
They're
do.
playing well. And you hear it often, the term, and a lot of people don't understand, what's it mean? And he's a player's coach. And the other day, Kendrick, with his no-hitter, he let him go. Hey, you got a chance for a no-hitter.
Go for it.
Go for it. You got a chance for a perfect game. Go for it. Next week, we're actually going to talk about that. Here's another segue, another plug. Next week,
man.
investigative. Do you let him go? Pitch counts.
I would be so. We'll save that
Shutting
for next
people
week.
down.
I'd be so mad. I'd want to be traded if
The one on Hill was ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll-
89 pitches,
We'll talk
7
about
innings.
that. Yeah, I just can't.
Perfect
imagine.
game.
And,
Nine
you,
strikes.
and you're out. I mean, and for all intents and purposes, you're out of it. You're out. So what's it hurt? I mean, if the guy goes down now, big freaking
Well, that
deal.
one was the Dodgers.
I guess
The perfect game was the Dodgers. It was against the Marlins, and I think he kind of looked over at Mattingly, and Mattingly
Mattingly
says,
went
pull
to.
him. Pull him.
Did he go with a lefty?
I don't
or
know.
a righty.
But Mattingly probably told him who to go with.
Alex Raymond.
Get the hook.
Rodney and
Get the hook out of there.
Bring
And
the
get,
gas out,
Roberts
put on
told
the
Roberts
fire.
to pull him.
get him out of there. And certainly everybody was right on the Nationals. Everybody,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that thought the Mets would overcome.
Oh no,
them.
there was Kool-Aid. That was a different flavor than.
But
the
it was
Cubs.
about half and half on that one. It wasn't certainly wasn't a
Well,
consensus.
it's a team that played in the World Series, and I'll tell you what. And here's the one thing, and I've drank the Cubs Kool-Aid and everything like that. However, and I remember.
Whoa, you this guy. This guy.
But here's my disclaimer on the same thing: is once you get into the postseason, all this does, the Cubs, and you guys should know, the Braves have the perfect example on how to win a regular season.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, and what good does it do you in the postseason?
Well, it gets you there a lot.
It gets you there. Okay, and good teams, because of the length of the season, the better teams almost always rise to the top. And you can start the season with the White Sox looking like they were going to be the best team in baseball and whatever.
Yeah.
And eventually it pays.
And it eventually pans out. 160 games at average.
Everything does.
Out.
However, once you get into the postseason,
Short series.
who's pitching well, that's why every month you have a different pitcher of the month. It's not the guy that was hot in May isn't the same guy that was hot in June, and the guy that's going to be hot in the playoffs isn't the guy that's hot right now.
Right.
So
if Detroit gets in, look out.
Or the Dodgers all of a sudden, you wind up throwing, or the team we just discounted because I'm so proud that we didn't drink the Kool-Aid and jumped on the Nationals, but watch out for the Mets.
Yeah.
Last year, they were the wild card.
Yep.
And last year, they played in the World Series.
How good would
Okay.
the Mets be if the Mets general manager had not traded your
Well, they wouldn't have Cespedes, and that's the stuff.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you don't. Fulmer.
Yeah, Fulmer went, by the way, to the Tigers in the Cespedes trade.
So if the GM for the Mets had worked harder to get some other piece,
Right,
some
but-
other pieces, maybe give up 2 more pieces, but kept Fulmer.
Right, but who are you talking about right there?
Right.
You're talking about my man, Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski, when he was with the Tigers, before he went to the Red Sox and put them in first place, he sat there and says, we got Cespedes, we want Fulmer. And in those situations, this is the guy we want, and this is
Anything
your number
else?
one pitching prospect.
Anything
and if
else?
you want Cespedes, that's who it's going to cost.
Yeah.
A lot of times with those, when you make those deals, there's one guy on that other team. You may see a trade for 5 prospects, but there's one guy that's the make it or break it guy that's the guy they want.
Yeah, so maybe that was Fulmer.
Oh,
Maybe it was.
well, by the looks of it this year.
It certainly was a good trade if you're
For
Detroit.
both, and I'll tell you, because
that's what trade should
with
be.
their young pitching staff, DeGrom went down and everything. Maybe Fulmer would have eventually made it, but he wasn't going to start off the season with that Met staff that
No.
they had.
No.
And Cespedes is the reason they're there. So
Cespedes for the rest of
offensively.
us.
And do you think, as we approach with 18, 19 games to go, that the Cardinals and the Mets and the Giants are all 3 vying for the wild card? Well, the Giants actually can still win the division in the West. But do you see the Cardinals? Which team do you see making the biggest move for the wild card?
the Cardinals, this is really kind of strange, but the Cardinals have kind of dropped a little bit because they had to play the Cubs.
Yeah.
Yep.
The good part about it is
If the Cubs clinch,
They don't-
they'll back off.
Right.
no, well, they don't have to keep playing. They
Right. To play
they
somebody
just
else.
They'll put in.
they got done with the Cubs. They got done with the Cubs now, and I don't know who has to play the Cubs the rest of the year, but at least now the Cardinals, and that's how good. Imagine that's how good the Cubs not only won the division away from St. Louis, but the Cubs basically are in the process of knocking the Cardinals out of the wild card too. So they're getting the double whammy from the Cubs.
Because they're playing right now, right?
Yeah,
they're
they've lost
playing-
2 in a row.
They were up. The Cubs
They
were
were
up.
up. Right.
Five.
Oh, they're
5-0.
playing this afternoon.
Yeah, they're
Playing
playing
this
this
afternoon.
afternoon.
We're taking-
So
Well,
they'll
that's
win,
what
they'll win the series.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one of the things is you got to be really careful who gets into that wild card place before you make your pick of who's going to win. Because to me, if it's the Mets and the Cardinals in it, that's different than the Giants and the Mets being in it.
See that part of it is really, and that's kind of, it's neat and it's exciting. But here's the one thing about the wild card, okay, is here's who's gonna, this is the team. If it winds up being the Giants and the Mets, okay, well, the Giants have Baumgartner, but if the Giants have to pitch Baumgartner on Sunday to make sure they are the wild card team, guess who's not pitching in the wild
Game
card
one, right, exactly.
And that's the one thing you have. I can sit there and tell you, well, if your ace is facing your ace, this is who's probably going to wind up winning that game. But it never falls out that way.
It never makes
so
that.
in a one game series like that, you have it might be you might have
Whoever
had to
hits.
use your top 3 that weekend, and now you're playing a wild card game on Monday.
Yeah.
And you're
That's when managers make their money when they get their rotation.
So-
Can't believe it's up. Time's gone.
no
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
by
15
fast.
minutes went by fast on this one. So next week we're going to talk about should pitchers pitch longer? Should you shut them down? We'll do our investigative report.
We want to
send
hear your comments too.
Yeah, send them in
Send
to
them
us.
in. Come
And
on.
we may or may not have Dr. James Andrews here with us.
Yes, we may or may not, but I'm going to go with
So don't teaser. Hey, tune in next week.
watch
You can
us
be here.
play ball.